What's up, Ninja Turtles? It's Miss Sorensen back at you live with video 10, Law of Sines. I cannot wait to get started. This is one of my favorite things to do here. Before we jump right into a problem, let's talk about what type of triangles we can do law of sines with. Law of sines should have a triangle, and it doesn't have to be a 90 degree, and it should be labeled with A, B, and C. If it's not, you should go ahead and relabel the triangle with A, B, and C. Notice that our angles are uppercase. We've got uppercase A, uppercase B, and uppercase C. Across from those uppercase angles, we have sides. And notice how uppercase angle A across from that or opposite that is side A, and this is lowercase a. Across from angle C is lowercase c, and that's a side. Across from angle B is lowercase b. So looking at the formula here, notice how we're always taking sine of an angle. Remember, uppercase letters stand for an angle. We always divide it by the side that's opposite it. So this is a side, that's a side, and that's a side. Now when we do law of sines, we're only going to choose 2 of the 3. So I'm just going to have these right here. I'm just going to solve that, for example, and then ignore that. Or maybe in a problem, I might just set this equal to that and ignore this. And of course, I can set sine C over C equal to sine A over A, and then completely ignore this and set these equal. It just depends on the problem that you're given. All right, finding AB. So I'm going to put a C right here. Okay, I'm going to put a C there. Why did I do that? Because across from uppercase C is lowercase c. Across from uppercase B is lowercase b. And of course, across from uppercase A is lowercase a. All right. What are we looking for here? We're looking for C. Well, this is interesting. If we look at our formula, let's refer to this right over here. We're given, let's put check marks here. We're given angle C, and I'm looking for side C, right? It asked me for side AB, which is side C. So I'm going to put a question mark here. And then it gives me side B right here, and it also gives me angle B right here. So I have both of my B's, uppercase and lowercase. So I have this and I have that. So always you will have 3 out of the 4 pieces of information. If you don't, you're going to have to do a little more work to start the problem. And we'll come into an example like that at some point. So what are you going to choose? You're obviously going to choose these 2. So let me write this down. We're going to have sine of B over B equals sine of C over C. Are you ready to plug in? All right, let's do it. So this is going to be sine of B, my B being 58 degrees. Okay, I got that from right here. And then I'm going to divide that by 29. Equals sine of C is going to be sine of 105. Remember, always putting the angle after the sine. And then I'm just going to put a C here. That's what we're looking for. Again, I just want to emphasize this enough. We have 3 out of the 4 pieces of information. So let's go ahead now and cross and solve. We're going to cross here. That's going to give me 29 sine of 105 equals, and then we're going to have C. I like to put C first. C sine 58. And now if I'm solving for C, I want to divide by the thing that it's being multiplied by. So I want to divide by sine of 58. Okay, please don't think that any of these things cancel. That's not true, right? We're taking sine of those numbers. They're not just numbers, right? Essentially, we have parentheses here, and it's taking sine of that. So you can't cancel those out. What you can cancel is a sine of 58 with a sine of 58, because they're exactly the same thing. So our C, we're just left with just plain old C right here, is going to be equal to 29 sine of 105 divided by sine of 58. Now, I'm a little bit worried about you guys putting this in your calculator. Make sure when you do this, you put in your calculator, you're going to put 29 sine, and then a parentheses pops up. You put in your 105, you close off your parentheses, and then you can put in your division sign, and then sine of 58. And right here, it actually doesn't matter if you close your parentheses or not, but let's get in the habit of closing that. You go ahead and you press enter, and I get roughly 33. Okay, so I get C is equal to 33. And these are definitely ones that we can check our answers on. Would this make sense that this is 33? Yeah, it certainly does. It's got a bigger angle than the one opposite 29, so we know that this across from the 105 should be bigger than 29, so 33 makes a lot of sense. All right, before moving on, I do want to emphasize how we know it's a law of sines problem. There are going to be questions on the test where I don't say use the law of sines, and I don't say use the law of cosines. You're going to have to know when it's a law of sines problem and when it's not. Well, remember, we were looking for side C here, and law of sines has this kind of technique here, or I guess kind of a trick, where if you can circle an angle opposite a side and another angle opposite a side, you should have 3 of the 4 pieces of information here. Do we have that? We have 1, 2, 3, and we're missing the 4th. That is your setup for law of sines. So if you can circle a side and an angle opposite each other, and then another side and an angle opposite each other, and you have 3 of the 4 pieces of information, it is a law of sines problem. All right, let's jump to the next problem here. All right, here you notice that we are looking for AC. Well, AC is going to be this side right here, which is across from angle B. So that's going to be side B. And it looks like we're given this side C. So in theory, right, I should have 3 of the 4. But I actually won't in this situation. I'm missing this angle right here across from the side that I'm given, which means I'll have to have that angle. So hopefully you can see what we're going to do here. We're going to add up 21 and 55, and that gives us 76 degrees, right? 21 and 55 is 76 degrees. And I need to subtract that from 180 degrees because there's 180 degrees in a triangle. Well, 180 minus 76 is 104 degrees. So now I'm going to mark this as 104. That's really important. And I'll explain why once we start circling things. All right, let's circle my side C that I'm given and my 104. Okay, and then I'm looking for B, so I'm going to have to circle B and 21. All right, that looks ugly. Let's see if we have 3 out of our 4 pieces of information. We have 21, we have a 19, we have the angle across from it, and we're looking for B. So we do have 3 out of 4. All right, now is our time to choose which formula are we going to use. Well, we've got our C, angle C, we've got our side C, we have our angle B, and we are looking for side B. So we're going to choose this one right here. Let's do it. So we have, let's clean this up just a little bit here. So I want to have sine B over B equals sine C over C. All right, where's my angle B? That's right here, 21 degrees. So that's going to be sine of 21. Please don't forget the sine. That is a common mistake. And then I'm looking for B, so I'm just going to write this as B. My C, that's the one we found right here. That's 104. All right, so that's going to be sine of 104 divided by C. Well, what's C? Obviously, it's right here. That's that 19. So that's going to be over 19. Okay, now we're going to cross and solve. That's going to be a B sine 104 equals 19 sine of 21. All right, next thing I'm going to do here is divide by sine of 104. The sine of 104's cancel, and I'm left with my b, which is equal to 19 sine 21. Close that parentheses when you do that in your calculator, and then divide it by sine of 104. You should pause this video and make sure you get the same answer as me. I do get 61 point, oops, that's wrong, sorry. I do get roughly 7.017, which is 7 inches. And we should stop and say, does that make sense? Well, does that look like it could be 7 inches if this is a 19 inch? Yeah, sure. I think that makes sense, especially because that 21 degrees is real small. All right. Now, we're going to move on to finding the angles in law of sines. And yes, of course, this is a little bit harder. Notice that I have always emphasized this. Anytime we're finding an angle, you are going to have to deal with inverse trig. And that's no different for this problem right here. So let's go ahead and make sure that we're in good shape for having 3 out of the 4 pieces of information. If this is my A, this is my lowercase a. And then if this is my angle C, which is what I want, I'm going to put a question mark there because that's what I'm looking for. So this would be my lowercase c. Do I have 3 out of 4? I've got my, let's see here. I've got 13, I've got 72 degrees, I've got 12, and I've got something I'm looking for. So yes, we do have 3 out of 4. And more importantly here, let's see, we've got C's and A's. So I've got, I'm looking for angle C, I have C, I have angle A, and I have side A. So we're going to set these two equal to each other. All right, so let's write that equation out. That is going to be sine of C over C equals sine of A over A. Let's go ahead and plug in. This should be sine of C over 12, right? 12 is my C, equals sine of A, which is sine of 72 over 13. Just got those from right here and right here. All right, let's go ahead and cross and solve. This is going to give me 13 sine C equals 12 sine 72. Well, I want to get sine C all by itself, so I need to divide by 13 on both sides. The 13's cancel, and I'm left with sine C. I'm going to rewrite this as a 12 sine of 72 divided by 13. Again, remembering to close our parentheses so we don't screw up our division. Now, you would think, okay, should we divide by sine? That kind of makes sense, but actually, no, it doesn't, because sine is a function. We can't do that. So technically, what we need to do is take sine inverse of both sides. And I'm only going to do this once, this step here. We're going to skip it otherwise. But basically, you're doing sine inverse of this, and you're doing sine inverse of that. What happens with a sine inverse and a sine? They cancel, and we're just left with C equals. So this is going to be C equals sine inverse, that does stay because it doesn't cancel out, a 12 sine of 72, close your parentheses, divided by 13. Doing that in my calculator, again, you should pause this video and make sure you get the same answer. I get roughly 61.4 degrees. Okay, let's try another one. Let's find angle A. It's our last problem in our video. So angle A is right here. I'm going to put a question mark next to that. And I'm going to circle and circle here. Clearly, this is going to be an A and a B problem, meaning I'm going to have sine A over A equals sine B over B. Okay, plugging in, I'm looking for sine A, so it's just going to be sine A, and the side opposite that angle is 21. And then I've got sine B, which is sine of 89 over 25. Really what we have here is a proportion, right? If it's basically proportional to the angle that you're given. Let's go ahead and let's cross multiply. So cross multiplying here, I get 21 sine of 89. Cross multiplying here, I get 25 sine A. I divide by 25 on both sides now, just to get sine A by itself. Okay, the 25's cancel, and I'm left with sine A equals 21 sine of 89. And I close those parentheses, divided by 25. You don't always have to put these parentheses. I just want to do that to remind you to do it in your calculator. Now this is where I said we don't have to do this all the time, right? So what I'm going to do here is just drop that left step, and I'm just going to say the measure of angle A equals. We know that technically what we did was take sine inverse of both sides there. So I'm just going to basically drop that. Or if you don't want to say measure of angle A, you can just say A equals. Doesn't matter to me. And now I'm going to do sine inverse of this side. So that's going to be 21 sine of 89 divided by 25. All right, again, just remember, anytime you're trying to find an angle, you're taking sine inverse of both sides here. And that drops down just the A. And we're left with sine inverse of that. If I do that in my calculator, it gives me 57.1 degrees. So my measure of angle A equals 57.1 degrees. That's better notation than A equals. I won't mark it wrong. I do like measure of angle A a little bit better. All right, that's it, folks, for law of sines. I hope you're following the law as well. Miss you very much. Can't wait to do video 11 with you. Take care now.